Welcome back to another episode of the UFC Iceberg. I do this for every single pay-per-view. This weekend we've got Alexander Volkanovski taking on Diego Lopez for the second time. For anyone that doesn't know how these Iceberg videos kind of are formatted, basically I'm going to be breaking the Iceberg up into 4 sections. The top tier of that being the stuff that most people know, and then tier 2, not so much, and so on and so forth. These things that I am going to be mentioning aren't necessarily exclusive to the event of UFC 325, but more so exclusive to the fighters on UFC 325. So, with that being said, let's just dive straight into it. First of all, we have Run It Back, which is as simple as it sounds. Alexander Volkanovski and Diego Lopez are running it back. They fought back in April. Alexander Volkanovski winning 4-1 on most scorecards and getting the belt back. Most people do know that, and most people are also unhappy, which is our next thing on here. People are unhappy about this because it seemed to be such a big landslide, and there's so many other contenders at 145 pounds. So people were kind of questioning why this fight was being made again in the first place. It just doesn't make sense for a lot of people when you have guys like Movsar Evloev, you have guys like Lerone Murphy. You can go on down the line. There's more and more guys. Next on the list, we have Shui Vasa. And for casuals who maybe don't know fighters by names, I'm sure you've seen the video of the guy sitting up on the cage and drinking a beer out of a shoe. That is Tai Tuivasa, and he is fighting on this card. And that's kind of the brand that he's built himself, is being the guy to knock people out and then proceed to chug beer out of a dirty shoe. Why he does that? I don't really know. I think it's disgusting. I mean, I guess it's a good marketing tactic. I'll give him that, I guess. After that, we have 100K. This pertains to the bonuses that have actually changed. In the past, for UFC events, it was always that there was one bonus for fight of the night and then one bonus for performance of the night. But now it is $100,000 for the performance bonus and then $25,000 each for if you get a finish. So new bonuses. This means hopefully we'll see less Khamzat Chimaev, more Ilia Topuria type of a deal, if you catch my drift. So all of those things are pretty well known. They're pretty mainstream. Most of you probably knew everything that I just said. So on to tier 2. These are going to be a little bit of the more lesser known things. Not too much, but a little bit. Short notice. This is actually about a meme that goes through the MMA community, and it is about Alexander Volkanovski, the man himself. So for example, last week when Kayla Harrison pulled out of her fight against Amanda Nunes, there were memes that Volk would be willing to fight Amanda Nunes on short notice. So it's become this growing meme in the MMA community that Alexander Volkanovski is always there to fight on short notice, and he's always willing, which is kind of funny because Volk's only taken one short notice fight in his career. And now it's just this growing meme that, oh, someone pulls out, just call Volk. He'll step in for him. Coach. This is for Mauricio Huffy. It's been speculated upon that Mauricio Huffy has left the Fighting Nerds gym. He has stated that he is still a fighting nerd, but he also wants to train with other people, most notably being Alexander Volkanovski. Apparently all things are good, but he's kind of switching up his coaches a little bit, and he's not so hard set on being a fighting nerd. The next thing up on the list, we have Gamble, which is actually another meme in the MMA community, which pertains to Rinya Nakamura. In a post-fight press conference, they asked Rinya Nakamura what he would be doing with his money for winning on the night, and he proceeded to say this.
Actually, only way that I know celebrating in this city is gamble.
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 Really? Gamble. Roulette, slot. Yeah. Blackjack.
Gamble. I learned Baccarat this week, so...
Uh-oh.
Baccarat. Yeah, it's very fun. Gamble.
Wish me luck.
Moving on from that, we have Cookin', and that is Alexander Volkanovski's Cookin' with Volk, which is so hilarious to me because this content is very high quality. It's top-notch stuff. The best part about that is that there's some people that follow his channel and literally have no idea that he's the best 145-pound fighter of all time. If you haven't checked out that channel, I would advise you to, because it is very high quality content, and if you're not hungry and you watch a Cookin' with Volk video, you will be hungry. That is it for tier 2. Obviously, very mainstream stuff here as well. I wouldn't say that this is probably the best Iceberg that I've done. There wasn't much on the fighters on this card. On to tier 3 we go. Cheeks. And when I say that, I'm not talking about the good cheeks. I'm not talking about the Mackenzie Derns, the Norma Dumonts. I'm talking about the Taffas. Hey, yo. And unfortunately, we've got a Taffa brother on the card. These fucking guys are awful at fighting, and don't get it twisted, they would both beat the ever-living daylight out of me. But I can recognize when someone is at fighting or not. For the Taffa brother that is on this card, Junior Taffa, when he fought Walter Walker heel hooked him in the first round. Junior Taffa didn't like that, so he proceeded to try and go after him after he got submitted and had the submission let go. You're locked in a cage in your underwear, dude, and he's trying to hurt you. I don't know what to tell you. He's trying to hurt you. He hurt you. You gave up, and then you get mad about it. This is your profession, dumbass. Don't get me started on the top. I could make a whole video about the Taffa brothers and how horrendous they are. They're on another pay-per-view. So yeah, they're hot cheeks at fighting. Up next is Fondle, and that is for Torres Finney, who likes to fondle his opponent's nuts in his mouth for 15 straight minutes. His debut fight came against Robert Valentin. And normally, I would tell you to not go back and watch such a horrendous fight. But with the previous statement that I made saying that Torres Finney likes dudes' nuts in his mouth, to prove my point, you're gonna have to go watch the fight. He literally shoves his head in between the guy's legs for 15 straight minutes. The opening minute or two is fun because he picks him up, he slams him, and then all of a sudden he gets tired. And his head is, I shit you not, stationed directly in between Robert Valentin's legs for 15 straight minutes. He likes fondling nuts in his mouth. 0 for 4, and this is actually having to do with Volk again, and that is his children. 0 for 4 on having a son, which as a fighter and as kind of like this alpha male figure, you typically want a son to kind of like pass the torch on to almost. And you can see in the gender reveal videos that he's posted, he isn't necessarily the most stoked on having another daughter, but it's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess. Underground is what is up next, and that is Dan Hooker in his underground fighting ring that he's made. So Dan Hooker has made a single elimination tournament consisting of around 16 to 32 fighters with 1 minute rounds, 1 round each usually. Winner takes all at the end, that being a $50,000 prize. And you would think, oh yeah, he's like going around looking for guys that maybe are up and coming pros, and no, they're just like the most random off the street that you could find. He's literally like going around on the street, walking up to strangers and going, hey, like, you want to like fight 8 people in a row? And if you win every single time, you give 50 grand. And these people just sign up for it. So on to tier 4. Again, I'm sorry, this is the best stuff that I could find. So this is the most obscure things that I could find as we head to tier 4. Thanos. That is actually another meme that is going around in the MMA community, and that is Quillen Salkild. People are saying that Quillen Salkild is collecting infinity stones of the races that he's been running through. And that is not a joke, and yes, you did hear me correctly, the races that he has been running through. For example, in his debut, knocked out Anshul Jabli from India. After that, he fought Yanal Ashmuz of Israel. And as of recent, he had kick KO'd Nasrat Hakparast of Afghanistan. For UFC 325, he got booked against Rong Zhu of China. So the meme is, he's basically collecting every single ethnic background that he can on his record. But now he's actually fighting one of his own kind, that being Jamie Malarkey, because Rong Zhu had to pull out. So yeah, that's basically all it is. Undercover, and that is for Rafael Fiziev. Rafael Fiziev is more so known for his background in Muay Thai and fighting in Muay Thai over 10 different countries, winning world titles. But a lot of people don't know that he was actually a police officer, and an undercover police officer at that. Rafael Fiziv attended the Police Academy of Kyrgyzstan after finishing school, where he also learned a degree in law. Several reports and profiles state Fiziv worked as an undercover police officer early in his adult life. Now, it wasn't for long that he was a police officer, because apparently the whole system and all of the policing in Kyrgyzstan is apparently really corrupt, so he left like a month or two in. He said that he had friends get locked up and that things weren't looking good and it was all corrupt, so he had to leave. If you know now, he represents Azerbaijan, so he doesn't even represent Kyrgyzstan anymore. On to the next one, we have Addict, and that is Tai Tuivasa. Tai Tuivasa used to actually play professional rugby. He signed with the Sydney Roosters in his youth, but his career ended early because he developed a serious gambling addiction. One of the notable reported incidents was losing a large sum of money, around $20,000 in a single night. From what we can tell, Tai Tuivasa has a pretty addictive personality. I mean, he's used to be addicted to gambling. Now he seems to be addicted to, I'm sorry, Tai, but food, as well as drinking sweaty beer. But apparently he was really good at rugby, and if it wasn't for the gambling addiction, he'd probably still be doing it today, honestly. Up next is Territo, and now we circle back to the Dan Hooker fighting promotion. In May of 2025, Dan Hooker hosted his first King of the Streets backyard fight tournament in his Auckland, New Zealand home. One of the fighters who competed was John Paul Territo, a senior member of the Mongrel Mob gang. Now Fatality MMA, what's the big deal? He was a part of a gang. Okay, what's wrong with that? You said Dan Hooker was just walking up to people on the street and like throwing them in a ring. What's the fucking problem? Well, he was wearing a fucking ankle monitor and he was on house arrest. And now he's just at some dude's house assaulting people. That being said, the Department of Corrections did not like that shit. When footage of the event went viral showing Territo fighting with the ankle bracelet visible, the Department of Corrections referred the matter to the police for bail violation. The police then took Territo back into custody. Dan Hooker then personally wrote a formal letter to the court taking responsibility in defending Territo, stating, "I, Daniel Hooker, am writing to confirm that John Paul Territo was invited and attended a martial arts event that I hosted at my home on Saturday, the 24th of May, 2025. He argued that attending the event was legitimate physical activity, martial arts training, and not a violation." The judge then was like, all right, fine, like, just get this off my desk type of thing. They released him and all was good, apparently. It all just fucking blew over. So, not the best Iceberg, maybe not the worst. I don't know. You guys let me know down below in the comments. I've made a few other Iceberg videos. Go give those a watch if you haven't. But that being said, I have a prediction video coming out, so stay tuned for that. But until then, I would appreciate if you guys did like and subscribe. So, that being said, I will see you all in the next one. Peace.